Hey guys, BaoZakeruga here. Another year has gone by, which means another list of games that I've completed. So as always, it's time to count down the list of games that I completed in the year 2017. Now keep in mind, this list won't only be games that I completed, but also games that I played that don't really have a definite ending like a MOBA or a first-person shooter. So with that out the way, let's begin. Let's start the list off with the first game I beat last year. Nowadays, it can be hard for me to really get into an RPG, especially lengthy ones. I have limited time, and having played so many RPGs over the course of my life, I need something that can either stand out from the crowd, or a game that does extremely well what has already been done before. If the game doesn't hook me in with its world, characters, and battle system, then there's a good chance I'm just going to drop it. The first Trails of Cold Steel, however, knocked all aforementioned points out of the park. You follow and take control of Class 7, a group of military students that have to learn about both the world around them and themselves as they watch the tensions in their country slowly escalate into a civil war. I grew attached to every member of Class 7 over the course of the game, and I didn't feel burned out on the game even over 80 hours into the adventure. Take a fun battle system, likable characters, an interesting world, and throw in an amazing soundtrack with heavy guitars and violins on top, and you get some of the most fun I've had with an RPG in years. Playing through the game reminded me of earlier games in the Tales series like Symphonia and Abyss, and how much fun I had with them. Trails of Cold Steel was just a good time, and that's all I wanted from it. Immediately after I finished the first Trails of Cold Steel and experienced one of the most memorable endings I've ever seen in a game, I was excited to jump right into the next game and see where the story would go. And the game did not disappoint. Whereas the first game focused on building up the world and characters, the second game just has plot development after plot development, and crap hits the fan quite often. This fast pacing definitely helped the game be more fun to play than the original, which was already an enjoyable game. Trails of Cold Steel 2 didn't stray far from what made the original so good, and is actually better for it. Polish already worked, and you get a good sequel. I can't wait to play the third game, hopefully this year in 2018. I bought Hyrule Warriors a couple years back and actually put it down after only a couple stages. I love Musou games, but the fast-paced button mashing the series is known for, mixed with the more slower puzzle solving and strategic boss fights with Zelda, just didn't mesh well to me. Fast forward a couple years to 2017, and on a spur-of-the-moment decision, I decided to give the game another try. And I actually don't regret it. While I don't think the two styles of gameplay mesh well, I still found it to be a fun and solid Musou game that I put a good 20 hours or so into. A lot of characters have unique movesets and are very fun to use, and the game looks pretty good due to its art style. I will admit I only really played the campaign and dabbled a bit in the other two modes, but I left the game feeling satisfied. Remakes are an interesting thing. They can improve an already amazing game, or they can take away what made the game special and possibly make you appreciate the original more. Tales of Hearts R for me kinda leans towards the latter. I definitely enjoyed the game, enough to finish it to completion, but I'd be lying if I said it's better than the original in any type of way. On its own, it's an average at best Tales game. The new battle system can be pretty fun, and I like the skill tree system in the game, but the game as a whole pales in comparison to the original on the DS with its fast-paced 2D plane battle system and the Bandai Namco cameos. Like I said though, I still had enough fun to want to see the adventure through to the end. I just don't think I'll ever come back to it. Fuck this game. Final Fantasy 15 is one of the worst games I've ever had the displeasure of playing. I have never played a game before that made me angry upon completion because of just how terrible it was. Quite literally, the only positive experience I had with this game was listening to older Final Fantasy music on the in-game radio. What makes this game so bad, you ask? First of all, bland characters I could not care less about. Characters that if you don't watch an anime before playing the game, you will literally know nothing about them. And it's not just the main characters that are bad either. Side characters have little screen time and virtually no development. I think there's one point in the game where the main villain of the game just dies off screen, and up to that point he's had like literally, and I'm not joking here, like 2 minutes of screen time, yet the game tries to build up this guy as some big baddie that you're going to have to ultimately take down, and you just never see him again. He just gets off camera. There's another part where a character dies, and the game expects you as the player to give a shit, despite the fact that this character has probably had barely 10 minutes of screen time, no development, and they barely emote. Even Noctis, the main character, is just like, okay. And speaking of our dear Prince Noctis, he is hands down the worst main character in this series. Yes, worse than Vaughn from 12. He barely reacts to anything around him, and he's a spoiled brat with zero personality. The spoiled brat part would be fine if he got character development that turned him into a more disciplined young man after the hardships and experiences of his journey, but that development never happens. I guess he stops whining at the end of the game, But the hilarious irony in that is just that by taking away that aspect of him, it takes away the only character trait he has. He just becomes a blank state. And the problems don't stop there. Oh no, that big open world that Square was so proud to show off. Not only is it devoid of pretty much anything interesting, you can't even access it in the latter half of the game. That's right, an open world game that stops being open world at the halfway point. And let's not even talk about Chapter 13, one of the most unenjoyable segments I've ever experienced in the game, because I'd probably be here for another 10 minutes. I viewed the ending to this game, which was very anticlimactic, and immediately uninstalled it from my PlayStation 4. I refuse to ever touch this game again, and despite Square's efforts, no amount of post-launch DLC is gonna make it better. So let's move on from one of the worst games I've ever played to one of the best. I was waiting for Persona 5 ever since I beat Persona 4 in 2008, and it was more than worth the long wait. I couldn't put Persona 5 down for the 90 plus hours I put into it. It more or less took over my life, and I regret not a single second of it. First and foremost, the game just oozes with style. It's a sexy game from the menus to the characters to the music. The dev team left no corner unturned when it came to the presentation here. The battle system from 3 and 4 has been fine-tuned to be better than ever before, and you can tell that a lot of love just went into this game. Literally from the moment I clicked new game, I couldn't put Persona 5 down. Every game I've ever got that feeling from has gone on to be one of my favorites, and this one is no different. Final thing I want to touch on is the music. I'm a big fan of music in general, and many of you know that my favorite soundtrack of all time in the game is Persona 3. While I'm honestly not sure if the soundtrack in Persona 5 surpasses the 1 and 3 for me, it's at least tied for my favorite soundtrack now. And that's high praise coming from me. This is without a doubt my game of 2017. I love Musou games, I love One Piece, so obviously I like my time with One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. I admit, 2 is still my favorite game in this sub-series, but I had a lot of fun with 3. Instead of having an original story like the second game, Pirate Warriors 3 gives you a basic rundown of every One Piece arc all the way up to the Dressrosa arc. And it was nice taking a stroll down memory lane while killing hordes of enemies as my favorite One Piece characters. Honestly, not too much was added to this game besides a few new characters, a new mode, and like one new gameplay mechanic. An above average game, and a pretty meh sequel if I'm being honest. I still had fun with the 20 or so hours I put into this one though. Back when I was a poor teenager watching clips of the Gundam Extreme vs games on YouTube, wishing I had money to import and play the series, I would never have guessed the series would one day have an official localization. Fast forward to 2017 and Gundam vs, a reboot of source for the Extreme vs games, was indeed released officially here in the West. It always impresses me that Bandai Namco can put so many mobile suits in one game and have them all play uniquely. While I don't like Versus as much as its predecessor Full Boost, I continue to put countless hours into it and may or not have bought all the DLC so far. Something I really like about this game is that it's pretty much for anyone. Gundam fans, fighting game fans, or even casual fans that just see giant robots beating the crap out of each other. It's easily accessible, which is a good thing for a game from an established series being brought over to a new market for the first time. Now, if only we could have dedicated servers. And there you have it, the list of games that I completed in the year 2017. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching it as well. Down in the comment section below, I'd love to hear what games you guys played or completed in the year 2017, and also what games you're looking forward to now in 2018. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a great day. Congrats on making it all the way to the end of the video. I hope you had as much fun watching as I did making it. If you want to see more of me, think about either subscribing or checking out more of my videos. If you want to make sure you never miss an upload, click the bell icon, join the notification squad. That way you'll always be notified whenever I upload something.